Hi there, everyone. Okay, nice to have the opportunity to talk to you guys again. Today, we really want to talk about the second function of management process. We talk about planning, organizing, leading, controlling. You know, this is the whole semester we cover. We spent quite a few weeks on business environment. We also talk about planning. According to Griffin, decision making is the cornerstone of planning. Okay, after we have a goal, plans, then we need to find ways to accomplish the plan. Okay, as you see, management is getting things done through people. That's my simple definition. So let's go to review a little bit about the 4 things. Okay, so planning is really determining the course of action. Okay. And today, I'm going to spend the whole hour talking about organizing. So the second process, or the second major functions of management, is really talk about how do we coordinate all those activities and the resources we have. In about a week, I'm going to talk about leading, talk about how to motivate people, how to manage them, and last, probably in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about controlling. So that's the process of monitoring and evaluating activities. That means if you're not on track, then you need to do some readjustment. Okay. So let's go to organizing. Okay. I guess most of you, I guess probably everybody, we have been to some kind of symphony. I just love to go. I've been to Oregon Symphony. I've been to a big one in Hong Kong. I think it was by Munich Orchestra. But it always like intrigues me, you know, when I see they have some 100 musicians, you know, and they can perform a beautiful classic piece like Beethoven or Tchaikovsky. But then when you got to really think about it, how do they arrange the music? Okay, and you see actually a lot of theories behind, a lot of physics, a lot of sound, you know, a lot of technology anyway. So I mean, I'm not a musician, I'm not a scientist, but I just want you to pay attention, because an orchestra is technical organization. Okay. So then we can say management is like playing a big symphony. So manager, the leader, is orchestra conductor. Okay, so when you conduct well, you have symphony. When you do not conduct well, you have cacophony, right? Noise. Okay, so that's why a good manager is more like a good conductor to me. Okay, actually, I just love this quote. Okay, I want to repeat this one. And Joshua Bell said very important things. You know, it's about the vision, the structure, the architecture. Not just in music, but also in management. Okay. So when you get time, you can watch the videos. You know how the Chicago Symphony play the music, Jupiter, or how Boeing makes its airplanes. Okay. We did watch a video under operations management. Okay. It's a lot of good videos that you can watch and learn what management is about. Okay. All right. So everybody wear clothes, right? We all have a wardrobe. Okay. This is the ideal situation, right? So everything's organized. I can bet some of you do not really organize your closet well enough. Okay. Yes. There's a lot of things you could buy a book to learn about it. I just like this one's really cute. Okay. The Complete Idiot's Guide for Organizing Your Life. Okay, all right, so there's a lot of books there. Of course, we'll talk about organizing management activities. Okay, so what are the elements of organizing? I like the textbook. Griffin did a really good job. Of course, he's a textbook writer, but he summarized 6 major elements or blocks of organizing. Okay. So basically, he gave a very good definition, very simple. He said organizers really try to figure out how to group organizational activities and resources in the best manner. Okay? We all try to group things, right? Try to arrange things. But what is the best way? Okay. Of course, under this structure, we need blocks, right? You build a house, or you build a pyramid, or you're doing a Lego. We have to have a structure. So Griffin talked about 6 building blocks. How to make organizing function efficient and effective. Okay. You guys know I love acronyms. The 6 blocks can be summarized as, okay, the D is for designing jobs, right? We all have a job already. Somebody's going to be a boss. You hire people, and you want to make sure they're really working hard and they are doing things worthy of their salt. Means like in the old days, you get paid by salt. Okay? So they need to work hard. Okay? The second one is really, how do you group jobs? You can just have one person in one group. At George Fox we have 6 colleges. You group business professors in College of Business. You group engineer professors in College of Engineering, right? So basically, we need to find the right ways to group them. But sometimes you have to share resources. Like at Fox, we have liberal arts. Everybody needs to take some Bible classes or mathematics. Then how do we arrange those job functions? The third one is like, everybody should know who their boss is, okay? Because no matter what you do, we should be held accountable. So I'm going to talk about reporting, establishing reporting relationships, okay? And the fourth one is really talk about what level should have this authority. Authority here, we talk about designated authority, okay? And then the next one, we talk about how do you coordinate all those activities. Let's use Fox as one example again. We have 6 colleges. We're under one university. How do we make sure, each college is contributing in this synergy, effect? And that's very important because, we have so many functions, financial aid, student life, liberal arts, all this, right? So coordinating is very important. Let's go back to the Boeing airplane. I read an airplane has about 2 million parts. How do you make sure, you're going to have all those parts at the same time and you can produce an airplane? You cannot produce a car with 99% of the parts. Okay? You need 100% of the parts. Anyway, coordination is very important. And the very last one is differentiating positions. So particularly in an organization, you get frontline, you get administrators. At George Fox, we have professors, we have supporting staff. Each person has his or her own job. We cannot cross another people's lane. Okay, I'm gonna talk about that more in details later. So basically, the 6 blocks I call DG racket, DGICD, right? Help you to remember, okay? 6 blocks, according to Griffin, builds the organizational process. Okay. All right. It's a beautiful color here. Griffin's PowerPoint here. Okay. All right. Let's go to the first one. The first one is with designing jobs, right? You hire people. You want to make sure they're doing their job because you're paying them. But also for somebody to work for someone, you need to know, like, what am I supposed to do? Okay. So job design is very important. Basically, determines this worker, this employee's responsibilities. Okay, my job here is teaching. Okay, all right, but a lot of theories. Okay, even go back to Adam Smith in 1776. He came up with a concept like division of labor or job specialization. So Adam Smith was saying, when the workers focus on one area and they're good at it, and other workers focus different area, they are good at it, getting better, and the productivity will improve much faster. Okay. So of course there's benefits of it, right? So basically, when you do one thing over and over, you become proficient, faster. And the transfer time between tasks is also shorter. And also you could have specialized equipment can be developed. And also you can replace somebody just easier because what? Everybody knows their function in that area. Okay. I visited computer factories in China in the 1990s, you know, and I just see those big machines and specialized engineers there, you know, they can do so much. But of course also there's downside of specialization. You know, the biggest challenge is like when you do the same thing over and over, you get bored. You're not happy, just so mundane. Okay? And you say, oh well, you know, I thought it'd be more fun just doing this job. Okay? So anyway, Adam Smith actually have this great example to emphasize the importance of job specialization. Okay? So he used the example of making a nail, the British call making a pin. Okay? So traditional process takes about 18 tasks. Okay? I already posted PowerPoint. I'm going to do the calculation here. So basically, if you have, because one worker doing all the 18 tasks, and you can only make 20 nails a day. 20 workers, you make about 400, remember. It's no job specialization. Everybody just do every step of the job making a nail. But think about specialization. You put 20 workers in one special type of the job. Okay? That means like, okay, you get the raw materials there, and somebody can do the furnace, and somebody is like blacksmith, anyway. So basically, with specialization, you don't do all the 18 tasks, but you do one of the 18. And look at the magic here. With job specialization, 20 workers could make 100,000 pins a day. Each worker make 5,000. And 20 pins versus 5,000 pins or nails. And that's, we're talking about 250 times, right? Okay, all right? So you see that, big, big improvement, okay? Great example. Okay. Then besides job specialization, you could do other things. I don't want to go to all those definitions, you know. First one, you can do job rotation. It means you can rotate people in different jobs. We shop in Fred Meyer, right? You know, you see cashier, and sometimes I don't see the person, so where have you been? And this person said, I was doing stocking, I was doing customer service. Okay. And job enlargement means give them more duties to do. Okay, make that job more meaningful. Okay. Go to stock on the shelf, go to solve consumer problems, and go to different departments. And job enrichment is talk about give you more things, make your job more meaningful. Okay. Some people like work with machines. Okay. But some people like to talk to people. You could give them more jobs, more duties. Okay. And another one is like working as teams, right? That's what we do in the group project, right? You know, lot of us like to work with others to solve problems. But I really want to emphasize a good theory called the job characteristics approach. Okay? So let's go there. Okay, job rotation, we talk about it, those are pretty easy, right? So anyway, a lot of examples I've given to you. Okay, but I want to emphasize this theory, job characteristics. Okay, it's a very good theory, and actually a lot of companies are using that today. Okay, so under this theory, there is like 6 major dimensions. The first one is really kind of pay attention to the skill variety, the numbers of tasks a person can do in a job. This guy sounds like job enrichment, right? But then this theory also talks about the task identity. Means that when a person feel like, okay, I'm making a difference in your life. I'm teaching global business management, you know. I'm making this part of the airplane. And my initials is right there, you know. And you say, hi, in this part, and say, you know, next time you can check when you open an Amazon box and you see there is a quality control, quality assurance, and somebody's initials, they're like, so this person will really do a better job, is like, because the barcode, the circle like goes, you're the one doing the quality control, you're going to do a better job. Okay. Task significance. So basically, the perceived importance of the task by the worker. Okay, you know, I used to own a business. I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I was also working in a corporate, but then I decided to become a professor. And I feel like being a professor, I can share my knowledge. I can share my managing experience. I can encourage you. I can encourage you, pray for you, right? Trust God. So anyway, so I found my job is more meaningful about just making money in the corporate. Autonomy, this is very easy for American workers to understand. You know, we're very individualistic. You tell our boss, like, do not micromanage me. Give me the freedom. I can do it. Okay. And so we like freedom. We like autonomy. And the next one is really feedback. I think all of us like to get feedback from our boss. If you do a good job, okay, we want a pat on the shoulder, okay, or like praise, okay, what a great job, right? Get some kind of appreciation. But if we don't do a good job, you also want to know, like, okay, boss, which area I should improve, right? Because we learn things by trial and error. And the very last one of this theory is really talk about the future career path. You want to have a job, but also you want to see the area you could grow, right? You don't want to stuck in the same position forever. It's not just about money, right? It's also about responsibility, okay? So basically, if you teach in a college, you know, and if you have a doctorate degree, and normally you study with assistant professor, right? And you get promoted to associate professor. And then you become a professor, right? So you have a career path to move up, okay? So this theory, I consider is very important because kind of cover all other different types of job design, okay? So this is a very important theory, and I found that very useful. That's why I go through these 6 criteria, okay? All right, so anyway, just give you more details on that. Okay. Then besides specialization, we talk about work teams, right? Okay, you work as a team. Because these days, I mean, it's kind of sad right now because of the COVID-19, right? We got stuck at home. Like the governor of Oregon and Washington says, stay home, stay safe. But we still need to do our work, you know. My wife works from home, and she has to talk to her boss. She has to work with her co-worker, work as a team. That's a virtual teams, okay? Sometimes they work with other people from China, from Africa, from India, right? So anyway, so those are virtual teams, okay? So basically, the first one, I just kind of went through talk about the importance of designing jobs, right? A worker needs to know what his or her jobs are, okay? So the second one, the book called Grouping Jobs. What does that mean, Literally means like departmentalization, okay? When George Fox was smaller, we had different departments. Right now we're getting bigger, we call colleges of this, or the British call like faculty or school of this, anyway. But in essence, it's really how do you group them together, okay? So basically, you can group company activities or, based on function, okay? Could be finance, could be marketing, could be student life, right? Okay. But in a big company, you can based on product. Okay. You go to Apple, they have iPhone, iPad, iPods right now, right? Okay. iWatch, Apple Plus, anyway, right? But also you can group them based on customer. When I have my company, I have A, B, C leads. I have A leads, they buy 1,000 DVDs from me each month. The B probably like 500 above. And C is like, okay, 50 above, right? So anyway. But also you can group them by location. I mean, even for Apple right now, they have Apple North America. They have Apple Japan, Apple China, Apple Europe, Apple Middle East and Africa. Okay, that's locations. How about shifts? Factories normally run 24 hours a day. You do production. Like Foxconn, they make our iPhones, right? They have 3 shifts, okay? But also, you can group them like seniors and juniors, like we do at George Fox, right? 400 levels mostly for seniors, 300 for juniors. Yeah, you have to finish the 300 level normally before you go to the 400 level, right? You go to companies that have credit departments, insurance anyway. So basically, grouping or departmentalization is really based on some kind of logic arrangement, okay? So what is the rationale behind here? So basically, the rationale is like, okay, when you group people together with similar functions, it's easy for managers to manage them. But also, companies prefer to have experts to manage the same area, okay? For the dean of college of business, we want somebody to have probably a business background. For the engineering, we want an engineer background, right? So it makes life much easier because you get experts manage the professionals, okay? So it's a lot of rationale. And the purpose is really try to make it more efficient and effective. Okay. All right, just show you a chart of a computer company. Computer company have hardware, software. I was in the hardware business for a long time. This looks like a Dell computer structure. They have manufacturing overseas and Dallas and Phoenix, right? Texas, okay? Dallas, all right? Anyway. So you go to a lot of big corporate websites that show you the structure. Okay. Functional department. Okay. Every function or every mean we use it, there's pros and cons. Either based on function or product or geographic location. So the advantages of functional, basically, as I said, you got experts manage experts, okay? You manage each other, so make coordination is easier. But what are the disadvantages? When you have bigger departments, more layers, your decision-making process is much slower. And sometimes people are not willing to take responsibilities, okay? Because it's so hard to say who is exactly responsible. Okay? Again, because company activities are so intertwined. Product department, okay, so basically as I said, for Apple you have different products, okay? What is the advantage there? Because basically, under one product, and you get a person who knows this product really well. I used to sell a lot of DVDs. I know a lot about DVDs, but I don't know much about, say, software. I don't know much about CPUs or mainboards or the core motherboards, right? So disadvantage is like, because this person is only interested or only knowledgeable in one area, not in all the areas. Okay, so that's another disadvantage. Okay. Then you can do customer departmentalization. Okay, again, you can have skilled specialists to handle those big customers. Okay, I would say even Apple today probably have specialized customer services for IBM, for big companies, and have different customers representatives for like Costco, you know, those, or phone carriers, right? So you see that, right? So, but also, when you have different departments, that means your operational costs are going to be much larger. You have to hire more people, a lot of process, so that's a cost a disadvantage. How about location? Again, when you have a focus on a location, you could react really fast. Okay. Overall, Apple has kind of global pricing, but sometimes for some models, they probably have to give special pricing for Indian market or for the Chinese market. Okay. And for US market, because it's more latest model. Okay. But again, the disadvantage is like you have to hire a lot of people to do the job, different locations. Okay. So we talk about shifts, right? Different time. How about sequencing? I visited Boeing factory. You know, you don't start an airplane, make an airplane from electronics. You start with what? The fuselage, okay, the body, and then you add other stuff. Anyway, there's a sequencing. You can also try other customers' characteristics. I mentioned like ABC leads before, okay. But companies overall, they do group the activities based on departments. They may have different names, like divisions, units. You know, as I said, we have college here. Okay, we have school of business in some places, right? Okay, so again, you could have many ways to group or divide company activities. Okay, so that's the second one. After you design jobs, we try to find their job functions, where should they belong to. We call grouping, that's departmentalization. The third one I want to talk about today is really how do we establish reporting relationship? How do we know who should take the ultimate responsibility? Okay. So when we talk about relationship, some concepts we need to kind of go over is that, you know, like chain of command. If you know, in the military and you understand this more, you know, or law enforcement, right? I'll talk about the Scala principle. Means like everybody needs to be held accountable. And then the span of management basically is like saying how many people can a manager really manage. So what is chain of command? Chain of command is we're talking about there must be a clear and distinct line of authority among the positions organization. So for professors, you know, if I teach undergraduate, I have undergraduate chair. I teach MBA, I have an MBA chair. I teach DBA, I have a DBA chair, right? So I'm always be held accountable. I also have a dean, right? Okay. So it's very important somebody is holding you responsible. Okay. Unity of command. Each person within an organization must have a clear reporting relationship, as I just said. It's only one boss. If you get two bosses, it'll be confusing. You say, okay, Dr. DVD, you just make sure you have different chairs. Okay, yes, that's only for teaching different subjects. But suppose if I want a promotion, I want to negotiate salary, I have to go to the dean, okay? And the dean have to go up, right? So anyway, you see that? So it's only one person is your boss. The scalar principle means like there must be a clear, unbroken line of authority. It means everybody must be held accountable. Okay? So that's called scalar principle. The next one is really span of control. I've been in management position for many years. First, I worked for a company, in Hong Kong, got moved up, and was managing about 10, 20. And then I got working for my friend in 2008. I was managing a lot of people in China for a year. When I had my own company, I managed about 10 people. But the thing is like, it is not always the more the better. Okay. For efficient management, there's a lot of theory on it. Okay. So we need to go to talk about these issues. Okay. So a lot of scholars do research. Okay. This guy is very interesting, A.V. Gracchus, and he has a theory that's very interesting. He tried to calculate the interaction a manager could have, either direct or cross or from group, all those interactions. And he came up with a formula. Yeah. So basically, we're saying interaction equals n to n's power divided by 2 plus n minus 1. So basically, it's that I is the total number of interactions, and n is the number of subordinates. 2 to the n's power divided by 2. I mean, you didn't even remember the stats behind. But look at the data, I put it here. So if you are the manager managing 3 people, that means you have 18 interactions total. People directly report to you, the group ones and the cross ones. Okay, that's a lot of interactions. But if you're managing 5, the interactions is like 100. But how about if you really directly managing 9 people, if you add all those interactions, like 528. That means you'll be so busy, and you have no time to sleep. You're writing the essays right now, for the goal, Goldrat and Cox's book, right? The goal, and you reflected like Alex was just so busy, he has no time for his children, his wife, and it's just a nightmare, right? So, but Ruckinus suggested, based on his research, he said the best number of people under a manager is between 3 and 9. Not more than that. Okay, it's not the more the better. Nobody can manage 50 or 100. When I said I manage a lot of people in China, but I have, VPs under me. Okay, I hold them accountable. Yeah, and I was just so busy. Okay, but a lot of times, okay, we talk about like other theories say could be narrow versus wide. Davis, in a sense, also confirmed. They say if you manage the low-level managers, maybe like assembly line, you could manage about 30 workers. But if you managing the executives, the middle top-level managers is 3 to 9. This is the same as Ruckinus' contribution. But these guys, they get the theory from real life. It's not just like from some kind of like virtual modeling, okay? But then we got Ewick and General Hamilton was saying when you're managing executives, you should not exceed more than 6 people. Okay? But then, also you see, right, some organizations are very tall, like a pyramid, and some organizations are very flat, okay? So, of course, the taller your organization is, means the more managers you need to hire, the more layers is there, okay? So when there are too many, a lot of managers in organization, of course, become more expensive, right? We know the top manager is not cheap, okay? All right? But also, when the organization is very tall, a lot of communication problems, and we call what? Red tape. Max Weber actually used the word bureaucracy, of course, in a positive way. So in a flat organization, basically, you know, the employees feel like they're given a lot of power, autonomy, they can work harder. But also the problem sometimes, like nobody is really willing to take responsibility sometimes, anyway. So that's another downside. Okay. So I've got 2 organizational chart here, structure here. The first one is really kind of like traditional, tall, different layers. In real life is much taller. But the second one here, you get a president, and the other one's probably here is VP and other managers, right? It's much flatter. But again, there's pros and cons for both. Okay. But what are the factors that actually affect the span of management? It's kind of abstract. Someday when you work for a company, it's much easier for you to understand. I mean, I worked in the corporate for about 20 years and I can understand this. I try to make it simple for you to understand. So we've been talking about 8 factors actually affecting how many people you could manage. The first one was saying, if this manager, supervisor, is very competent, of course, he or she can manage more people, right? Okay. So competence, that makes sense, right? Okay. The next one is saying, the greater the dispersion, the narrower the potential span. Okay. That means if GM, General Motors, is spreading in Africa, Europe, and Latin America, Asia, and the boss have to coordinate with all those divisional managers. Probably you can only manage 5, you cannot manage 50. So anyway, so that's what I talk about the physical dispersion. Okay. The third one is about extent of non-supervisory work in a manager's job. Okay. So if this job requires a lot of paperwork, then you cannot hire, you cannot manage too many people because you need to report, you need to do this, make sure the procedures are followed. Okay. The fourth one, degree of required interaction. The less required interaction, the wider the potential span. As I said before, I visited quite a few factories in China for computer assembly. Normally, you do not have too many managers there, but you have a lot of assembly workers. The reason is because the machines do they did the main part first, and the individuals just do their own part. So a manager can see more people, more operators, frontline workers. The fifth one, extent of standardized procedure. The more procedures, the wider the potential span. Go back to the assembly line again, because the workers, the assembly workers knows exactly which number they should put these capacitors in. So then they repeat the same thing over and over. So that means the manager can manage many people. Sometimes goes to 50, it could be 100. Okay. Number 6 says, similarity of tasks being supervised. The more similar the task, the wider the potential span. Okay. Again, if this workers is making an iPhone, the iPhone 10, okay, and they've been making that for quite say at least 1 or 2 years, and it's much easier for this manager to manage these people working for this product. You know, I don't think the mixed iPhone 10, iPhone 11, probably different plant, different factory floor. Okay. Number 7, the frequency of new problems. The higher the frequency, the narrow the potential span. Yeah, this is a personal observation. We had a company in Hong Kong before, and you know, we do a lot of banking with HSBC. And it took me a while to realize, like, it's very interesting why there is a person stands behind, like, say, 2 or 3 tailors. And I said, Hong Kong is not cheap, you know, and those supervisors must get a lot of pay. So I don't understand why. I think it was in our church, and there's a person who works for the bank. So I asked this question, I said, why there's always one person behind the tailors and swipe the card? And this friend told me, like, because the tailor only has certain authority to transfer money. It's $100,000 US. But in Hong Kong, you know, a lot of rich people, or you do a lot of, you know, business banking, we can send $500,000 US or a few $100,000 US to other countries. And those authorizations beyond the front desk teller, they must have a supervisor. So that's why the supervisor is always walking around. And sometimes it's suppose it's like $1 million US. They have to go to inside and maybe check with the branch manager. So that's why you cannot manage too many people, okay? Of course, nothing is free, right? So anyway, the consumers, we pay for the prices. And the last one, it's very interesting. It says preference of supervisors and subordinates. You know, they say some managers prefer to spend less time with the employees, and many employees prefer to be self-directed. That means they can manage more people. So anyway, but again, the theory mostly correct is really sometimes kind of hard to understand, but with personal experience, you understand someday, you know, it's not the more the better. It is really talk about efficiency, the company efficiency, effectiveness, okay? So that's the third one, the reporting relationship. Now I want to go to our 4th block. Remember, right? DG racket, okay? And the 4th one is really authority. It's power. You know, I'm talking about legitimate power here. I'm not talking about your physical power and, you know, or you have certain knowledge, language, you know, power. You can speak fluent Spanish. We're talking about designated power from a company, okay? So basically, authority means power is legitimized by the organization. Okay, you're the manager, you have certain power. You become a senior manager, you have more power. You're vice president, more power. You get a CEO, you get a lot of power, okay? Yeah. But when we talk about power, one concept we need to talk about is delegation. Means actually giving power to others. You know, again, Americans, we like to, most of us like to have more responsibilities. We like to be delegated with more power. It means like the boss trusts you more, okay? So basically, the bosses have designated power because the boss does not know everything. They need experts under this person. But also, it's good for the company overall decision making, because when you feel like you're part of it, you say, hey, I'm this team. I'm not just micromanaged or told what to do. My boss trusts me. So delegation is a good thing. Okay. So it's easy to delegate power, right? You give this person responsibility, you grant some authority, and then you also create accountability. And then you check the results, okay? But also there's some problems in delegating power. First, problems with managers. Some people, some managers like power too much. They do not like to delegate power. They feel like when they give power to another person, they have less power. Okay? But sometimes this person is very disorganized. It's very hard to delegate power. Don't know where to start. But the third one is so true. I mean, you know this from real life someday. And actually, some, maybe occasionally, very few, sometimes supervisors feel like threatened. They say, okay, if I delegate this power to this person, and this person knows more than I do, and my job might be replaced someday. Happens. I've seen that in real life too. But sometimes it's like the managers, they do not trust subordinates. They say, they don't want to delegate that much power. Maybe Alex, in the novel, the goal was the same thing. But sometimes it's from the worker, the subordinates. Some people say, hey, I don't want any more power. I get the same pay. I don't want to fair. So, see, the second one is like no pay. And normally what? When you have more responsibilities, you get more pay. But sometimes people just do not have more responsibilities because it's just, too much burden. Okay? But the next one, when we talk about power, I want to introduce the concept called centralization, decentralization. So basically, decentralization means power goes to others, okay? Delegate power to lower level stuff, okay? Decentralized, okay? Systematically give more power to the middle lower level manager. Like in a flat organization, probably is like that, right? Okay. But centralized position, centralization means the top management try to consolidate all the powers or more powers. Either it's because they want to do some downsizing, cut the mid-level managers, or sometimes just don't feel like the mid-level managers are, say, competent. All right? Okay. So a lot of factors affect the centralization, decentralization choices. I don't want to repeat all this. There's a lot of theory on that. And companies go through different stages too. Normally when they're doing well, make a lot of money, and the company will grow. And more layers, more company become bigger, and probably more decentralization. But when the company goes through tough times, and they want to get rid of some managerial layers and become more centralized. Okay. The fifth one we'll talk about today is really coordinating activities. Okay. Business requires a lot of different functions, right? I mentioned a car, making airplanes. You need hundreds of thousands of parts. So you need to coordinating resources, human resources, financial resources, or time. Okay. So basically coordination is really try to link activities of different departments becoming one to reach this synergy effect. As I mentioned earlier, we have 6 colleges at George Fox, but we still one university. So we still have one vision and one goal, right? Okay. So it's very important for us to say, be on the same music sheet or the same page, on the same boat. So coordination is very important. Okay. The reason we need to coordinate activities also because it's a lot of interdependence between organizations. Okay. Sometimes we have pooled interdependence. That means maybe not too much interaction. I'm going to show you some graphs later. And a lot of times actually, College of Engineering or College of Business, we don't have too much in common. Okay, because we're in different level. One is really in science, of course, management we're more into theory. Okay, of course it's science too, it's social science, right? Okay, but sometimes you have sequential interdependence. As I said, right, when you're making an airplane, you don't start with wings. You start with the wheel and the fuselage and the other part. There's a sequential. When you write program, you're also following certain sequence. If the job A is not done, you cannot go to B, you cannot go to C. Okay. The next one is called reciprocal interdependence. Okay. I'll give you some examples too. I think most of us, we have booked a hotel and when we did the booking and they say you can check in at 1 o'clock. And when you go to the lobby, they said, I'm sorry, the room's not ready, come back 1 hour later. And you said, something is not working right. And then you sort of figure out what is going on. Well, yeah, because the customer checked out late, and then the cleaning person could not clean the room on time, and then that's why you could not check in. So it's all reciprocal, okay? So these are different interdependence, okay, organization. But in one way or another, they are still within the same organization, okay? So that's why coordinating activities is very important. There's a saying, no person is an island, and no company, department is an island. They interact with each other. Okay. But a lot of things you could do to make sure they really coordinate well, You could have a very tall hierarchical system there, but also you have rules and procedures. Okay, people follow certain procedures. We have procedures in universities. Okay, the semester must be 16 weeks, right? Okay, and also you have to have a liaison, a middle person to arrange activities. Okay, but also you have special task force right now. During this COVID-19, right? President Trump does briefing. Now there is a task force to fight against this invisible enemy, right? The coronavirus. And also, you see, I watch a lot of briefing, and they have different departments. You got Homeland Security, you got CDC, you got FERMA, right? All these are there, okay? So there's a lot of interacting going on. But also, we can do a lot of coordinations by electronic means, right? We all use Google Calendar, okay? It just reminds you, okay, this is something need to be done, right? Just life is much easier right now, okay? So coordination is very important, okay? So we talk about this, okay? Rules and procedures very important. The liaison is very important too, okay? Task force I just mentioned, right? Normally task forces are like not forever because you have many different tasks, right? Okay. But again, you can integrate departments, and normally the financial controllers have a lot of power by having financial budgeting. Okay. Okay. We have emails you can coordinate, electronic scheduling, okay. Cell phones, PDS is old days, personal digital assistants, all right? Okay. Now I'm going to go to the very last one, okay? The sixth block of organizing. It's called differentiating between positions. What does that mean? We know differentiation, right? It means they're different, okay? Let me give you a good example here. In companies, especially factories, they have line managers, line positions, Okay. Positions in direct chain of command responsible for the achievement of organization's goals, production, marketing, sales, and finance, right? But George Fox, because we are higher education. So with the professors here, we are in the line positions. Okay. We have some formal legal authority, you know. Professors, we go through a, rigorous hiring process, and then you have certain expertise to teach certain topics. But then also, right, you guys encounter with a lot of staff members, okay, administrators. You know, we will go through financial aid, right? You need to borrow money or some scholarship from Uncle Sam or from other organizations, right? Okay, but also we have other procedures like register, like other, procedures for technical, for IT, for personnel, accounting, purchasing, right? So basically, people in the staff position give compulsory advice, okay? For George Fox, because we're taking money from federal government, we have to follow the federal guidelines, for non-discrimination, no sexual harassment, Title IX. So all these are very important. So basically, professors, we know how to teach, but administrators make sure we're following procedures. But there's also, like in some organizations, they need a lot of administrative stuff. Very high administrative intensity. George Fox probably have like 200 professors full-time, but you do a lot of stuff too, anyway. But you go to, federal government, you go to a state government, you have a lot of staff members, okay? Because they need to make sure the rules and regulations are followed. Okay. So by now, for the past hour, I have given you a brief introduction of 6 blocks for organizing activities in any business. Let's review that. The first one is designing jobs. Okay, make sure every person in the company have something to do with the job description. And the second one, you need to group them together so they can work as a team or department in the most effective and efficient manner. The third one is establishing reporting. Make sure everybody is held accountable, everybody has a boss, so they can do their job right. Okay. And the fourth one is really distributing authority. Okay. Should the company authority be centralized or decentralized? And the fifth one is really coordinating activities. Because there's a lot of things to do in the company. But no matter what or where your department is, you need to make sure your job functions can contribute to the whole organization. So you can become a part of this beautiful symphony. Without coordination, there's going to be chaos. There's going to be noise or cacophony, not a symphony. Okay? And the very lastly here, kind of know your place. Don't cross the lane, other people's lane. And line positions need to know your own functions. But the supporting or administrative staff, they can give you advice and make sure you're following regulations. So if we get all these 6 major blocks done correctly, and this means the company could reach efficiency and effectiveness in the second function of management. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. Thank you. Bye now.